And we're live. What's going on, everybody? It's Sunday night, Thanksgiving weekend. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. And we did. We did. Um, Jason's Garage, Rude Mopar Dude, John Mouts, Morbid Redix. That's a cool name. Wayne Buzzle, Olive, what's happening? Throttle Davidson. I like that name. It's a good name. Roger Bagwell, Arkansas, representing Arkansas. Jerry Franks, James Fife, Mike N, Rude Mopar Dude, yeah. Installing an AW 3-inch exhaust on a 2021 TRX tomorrow morning. Good luck with that. Austin Arnold, random fact, no one needed the 262 Chevy V6 is a small block. Okay. What's going on, Mopar Den? George Bonnie, you're late. You're like the 15th guy in here, man. John Trudell, what's happening, brother? Cult leader. Not quite, right? Don't say it too loud. I'll end up in a camp. DeScaglione. Holy cannoli. Starduster, Danny Boyd. Giancarlo Padamonster. Uncle Tony, I just want to say thanks again. I dynoed the first time at 87 horsepower on my 1.8 Fiat. And then I did some electronic programming ignition advanced tuning and dynoed at 127. Wow. That's a big jump. Nice going, man. It's just, see, man, the smallest things will make the biggest changes, and by the same token, the smallest things will make the biggest negative changes too. I mean, you drop one cylinder, the 8-cylinder motor, okay, one cylinder accounts for 12% total of the engine, right? Okay, so it's got to miss, big deal. No, that 12% it's more than 12% because the pumping losses, there's all sorts of factors involved, and it adds up. It's more like a 20% loss when you drop a cylinder. Zero, what's happening, man? Donnie and Wendy are here. What's happening? I know you guys had a rough week last week. Danny Boy, Tony, what draws fuel through the idle circuit? Vacuum. Yes, everything gets drawn by vacuum on a carburetor, except for the accelerator pump. The only part of a carburetor that's force fed is the accelerator pump. Let's see. Mark Montana, time to go LS. I mean, I love LS engines. I watch, you have no idea how much LS stuff I consume. You know what I mean? I like those motors, but I'm not going to build one. I have my niche. I have my stash of cars and parts and everything else, and that's what I do. There's lots of people doing LS stuff. And I think it's awesome. I am the last person you will ever hear say anything negative about an LS. Billy Bob Holcomb, 97 watching, only 34 likes. Uh-oh, I got 111 watching, only 34 likes. Just, guys, you can even hit the dislike button. It's okay, either way. Like or dislike, it doesn't make a difference, but hit a button because it helps the YouTube algorithms. It helps us get out there. Mr. Rodder's Neighborhood, that's Dallas, and that's Dallas's new channel. If you're into Buicks and just generic vintage General Motors stuff, Mr. Rodder's Neighborhood. That's Dallas, the Wednesday Night Live, Dallas, AHRA, American Heart Association Dallas. That's his new channel, Mr. Rodder's Neighborhood. So go over there and give him a sub and hit the button and comment on his videos and all of that good stuff. And Dallas does not buy views. I can tell you that right now. Dallas does not buy views. All of his views are organic. Neither do we. We don't buy views either. Jim. Okay. Chris, I literally just got here. Give me a sec to hit the like button. Take your time, man. Take your time. It's all good. Crazy Ranch Garage. You like LS motors? There was nothing to not like about the LS. The LS is okay. I mean, the small block Chevy. I love small block Chevys. Just because I don't work with them doesn't mean I don't love them. I've learned so much from small block Chevys. I've built so many small block Chevys. I mean, I go back, me and a small block Chevy go back a long way. I absolutely adore those motors, especially the early small journal motors. 283s and 327s. I love them. I mean, I literally like I see the oil fill in the front of the intake manifold, and I want to go hug it. Okay, I mean, I'm seriously. I have true affection for the small block Chevy. So when you talk about the LS, I mean, it's like it's the ultimate evolution of one of mankind's greatest achievements is the small block Chevy. Period. The end. Okay, and the LS is everything that was learned and every step of evolution over the course of 60 years. And there's 50s, well, whatever they introduced, and there's the LS. What's not to love about it? Mr. Will, what's happening? Mike Batista, Tony is really a Chevy guy. I'm a car guy. I'm a car guy. I find there are things. Oh, I'm not even a car guy, man. I'm a motorcycle guy too. I'm just a general gearhead, and I see things. I don't care where it was made, who it was made by, why it was made. It makes no difference to me. I just love certain machines. You know what I mean? I just have an appreciation for all machines. Paul Capozzolo is still doing a turkey coma. I didn't have much turkey. I had mostly ham. Um, let's see. Bank Bankushi. I don't know if this is a stupid question, but is there like a mathematical formula for calculating this tire size with weight, power, torque? Man, if there is, I don't know what it is. But because every suspension is different, every car is different. You know what? There's just way too many variables to have a formula, a one size fits all formula. But I mean, you could go looking for one. There might be. The wrench, what's up, man? Danny Boyd, you LS swapped your neighbor's dishwasher. They've LS swapped everything at this point. The aliens are LS swapping their yeah. Um, let's see, New City Carpet, UT. Can you please explain possible valve clearance limitations when you zero deck or out of the hole? Thanks. Saw tonight's video. On these engines with a zero deck, there is a flat top piston. See, there's a key, right? It's a flat top piston. And knowing those engines, there is zero chance, absolutely zero chance of piston and valve interference in anything in the 5 or even 600 inch, 5 or 600 lift cam range. You start to run into piston and valve clearance issues when you're over, let's say, 500, 600 lift, and you've got a domed piston. Then you start to run into valves or piston clearance issues. But for what we're building there, no, not a chance. In fact, it's like not even taken into consideration. Steve Sadusky, what's happening, man? Zero saying Lady Zero's Dart is back on the road. Mr. Slant Signature. Isn't it pleasant, man, to just, isn't that just pleasant? You get in the car and it's just that Slant Six just right, just buzzing you down the road, man. I love those things. Here the sun is ready to be LS swapped. Need metal. Lots of amateur LS swaps out there. A guy does one and he starts a YouTube channel. Fritz Caddy, best carb for a 326 Pontiac? I don't know. Dallas, what do you think? What would you recommend for his 326 Pontiac? Steve Pastori, hey UT, just watched Funny Car Summer yesterday here on YouTube yesterday. Thanks for the recommendation. My favorite, I love that movie. It's so 1970. It's so like innocent shit. It's awesome. 1972, that movie was. But my favorite part of that movie was when they're showing the manufacturer's race at OCIR, and Sush Matsubara gets the Pisano Matsubara Vega into the wall, right? And they show them afterwards, right? So like they're cleaning up the wreck, right? And Matsubara is just standing there, and he's like, you can see he's stoned out of his mind. His eyes are just like he's out there, right? And he's just smoking a cigarette like nothing ever happened. You know what I mean? I just crashed my nitro funny guy. Yeah, okay. Deuce Coupe, You sent me 5 of whatever that symbol is there from Sweden. Thank you, sir. Many a blue moon ago, I painted the covers for a friend. Hemi still remembers their size. He raced a '69 Barracuda. There's a lot of real estate on a Hemi valve cover. Steve Pastore, 19. Yeah, it was released in 1973, but all of the race footage is from '72. Did Uncle Tony get his ears lowered? Well, they're same height. Let's see. Let's see. Joe Trudeau bought a 1995 Ford Lightning today, 5-speed with a straight 6 engine. Good combination, man. Good combination. I bet you the batteries won't go dead. Eureka Subway. Uncle Tony, how much do you think it will cost to put new valve guides and seals on a set of 906s? It just depends on your machine shop, man. Depends on your machine shop. Some of them are absurd with that. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of work involved in putting guides in a cylinder head. It's precision work. It's not something you're going to attempt at home. But it's all over the map as far as pricing goes. I don't know. I couldn't really give you a price. Chris Greenaway, what's your opinion on the 70 through 72 Monte Carlo? The greatest fan shroud in all history. I think they're great. When I was a kid, I was in high school. I was like a freshman in high school. I didn't even know, man. It's all over. I was only in high school for a while before it threw me out. But I had one of my friends. His older brother had a 71 SS, or was it a 70? Might have been a 70. A 54 SS Monte Carlo. And that thing was just a freaking animal. That was the first car that ever, no, I want to say it was the first car, but I remember the way that car laid me back in a seat, man. It was just a brute. It was beautiful. But they're really super freaking heavy cars. I love all of the Monte Carlos. I had an 86 Monte SS for a couple of years too. I've always had a thing for Monte Carlos. I like them. Zero. Yes, fan shroud. Yes. Yeah, dude, no exaggeration. The fan shroud is like it's at least this long because it's just the motor is back there against the firewall, and the grill and the radiator is way the hell out there. Let's get this super long hood on it. So like the fan shroud is like it's just like it's literally a wind tunnel. Let's see. Let me see here. 55-gallon barrel fan shroud. Yeah, that's. Tyler Oliver, hey, Tony, what do you think about an off-road 72 Coronet with a $50 motorhome 360? It's like a gamble at 500 type of thing. That could be a blast. Those cars are a little heavy, man, for off-roading as is. I mean, like when you come down on something, you're gonna hit it hard, right? But I mean, I don't see why not. Let's see. MG, what do you think about painting the engine bay black on a '69 Roadrunner? The car is black, white. Then, oh man, it's a Mopar. Mopar, it's got to be the primary body color is what the whatever color the door jambs are is what color it's got to be under the hood. Yeah, I mean, it's just Mopar, or white, right? You know what I mean? White always looks good under a hood. It's like white is the color that makes everything pop and lit up and easy to find and easy to work on. But yeah, no, under the hood on a Mopar, man, it's got to be body color. Rocky Myers, the Monkeys and Engine Masters did their latest show about piston swap. Won't let it die. Of course not. Why would they let it die? What's up with all such fake teeth here? I think he's about to transition or something. Good possibility, man. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. A couple of people told me about it. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't care what they're doing. Their dyno is going to give the results that their dyno gives. Everybody else, David Rizard's dyno gives a completely different result. So who do you want to believe? Who do you want to believe? Some TV guys or a guy who's been building, like, who literally wrote the books, right? Who's been doing this forever and has experience in every form of racing there is. So when David Vizard says it works because he tested it on his freaking dyno and he got results, and then these ass clowns at Motor Trend, they keep testing it and they don't find results. I mean, who am I going to go with? You know what I'm saying? Who am I going to go with? Mike Batista, engine bays on unibody cars go body color. Yes, they do. Uh, Zero saying, funny how that never loses power. I know, right? Ah, there's Ultra Kathy. She did such a good job. She filmed 2 videos today. I mean, she's a one-man wrecking crew. She's Fubar the Axe. Thank you, sir. There's the link to our merch, and we're running a sale. Uncle Kathy, Uncle Crystal running a sale on these shirts. So I vote for Cyber Monday. So I don't know what the deal is. Uncle Kathy, what's the deal on the shirts for Cyber Monday? Um, Dustin Williams, my dragster engine burned about 2 quarts of oil over about 30 passes. Is that a concern? Not really. I mean, I don't know what your dragster engine consists of, but I mean, I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, are the plugs coming out oily? If the plugs aren't coming out oily, then, man, don't worry about it. It's just chalk it up, throw 2 quarts in it, and go. Okay, Kathy says, Uncle Kathy says, I'm in and out of the stream doing Christmas things around the house. Deal on the shirts is 20% off with code. Oh, right. So if you have a code, yeah, there you go. Terry Littlejohn, what's happening, brother man? How are you? Um, okay, Kathy says the code for Cyber Monday is listed in our community section. Get it there. So if anybody wants to know what, they go to our community, and it'll have the code there. Oh, wait, you don't even have to do that. Look, the code is UTG21. There you go. UTG21 is the code for discount merch. Deuce Coop, thank you, sir. Does it still get you a bit upset what they did to the ball stud Hemi? I want a 62 Dodge Plymouth Super Stocker to terrorize the boy racers. Yeah, how could it not upset you? I mean, I did the whole video on that, man. It's a shame. It's like desecrating the Mona Lisa. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, why would you do that? I don't. You brought up the 62 Dodge Plymouth Super Stocker. Steve Magnati was supposed to be here tonight, but he ended up he met with an old college friend, and he asked me if we could do this next Sunday night. So Steve will be with us next Sunday night. Big B, it's Baron. Do you remember me? Baron, how can I forget Baron? What's happening, man? Chris Greenaway, UTG, is it bad that I like the unsung heroes of the muscle car eras like the Torino Monte Carlo? It's not bad, it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the obscure things, I love obscure things, but obscure things are really expensive, and time consuming, very hard to get good quality parts. It's like AMCs, man. I love everything AMC. I love the idea of AMC, right? But I wouldn't touch an AMC because where the hell do you get stuff for it, man? Everything is a gift from God. Something's just completely do not exist anymore. So, you're climbing a wall of aggravation to have one of those cars. Is it worth it? Jody Calhoun, Steve Maggs rocks. He certainly does. He's doing great with his channel too. Um, Tyler Oliver, your videos on carburetors changed my life. Thank you, Uncle Tony. It's still an analog device, right? I mean, yeah, that's the thing, man. It's so simple. Like the mystery of the carburetor is. I know you're wrong. There's still things I'm learning after all these years of doing this stuff. There's still things that I'm learning. I learned some stuff from Andy at Unity Motorsports Garage that absolutely because I ran into a situation that I've never had before, and I learned a whole new a whole new way of working with these things. So even when you've been doing this stuff since the 70s, you can still learn. And you know what I mean? I Big B, $2. Thank you, sir. I miss you a lot. I just got an international patent. Congratulations. Congratulations. Where'd you get a patent on, man? Uh, Dimitri Patakos. Thank you, sir. Hey, Tony, I picked up another F-body, 79 Aspen RT, cool car, and she needs a new rag joint. Worth doing myself with a set of basic tools, choose from New Jersey. Yeah, that's an easy swap. That's an easy swap. There's 3 bolts listen to me, right, man? Really simple, okay? You got the 2 bolts that hold the rag joint together, okay? So you got 2 bolts and 2 pins, right? And then there's 3 bolts under you look underneath the dash, right? Take the plastic cover off, 3 bolts hold the steering column, right? And then there's 3 bolts on the firewall that hold the steering column in there. So undo the 3 bolts that hold the steering column under the dash, undo the 3 bolts from the firewall, and slide the whole thing out, and the whole job will take you 20 minutes. It's not a big deal. Let's see. Big B, Barron, he got an international patent on proprietary diesel catalyst for converting plastic waste into diesel fuel in one step via pyrolysis. Pyrolysis, yes. You're so smart, Barron. You're freaking smart. Let's see. Mike Batista, are the new challenges considered Mopars? Not by me. Not by, oh God, see, not by me. I mean, they're Mopars in that they're made by Dodge, Chrysler. So yeah, they're Mopars in that lineage. You know what I mean? Like okay, is a 1929 Dodge Brothers car considered to be a Mopar? Yes and no. You know what I mean? It's Mopar in name only, right? It's not when we think of Mopar, we think of a certain engineering language, design language that was spoken between the 1950s and like the 1970s, 1980s. So let's call it from middle 50s, early. Let's call it 1951 or so to around 1981 or so, like about a 30-year period, and that would be considered what I think most people consider to be Mopar. American Farmer 27 sent $1. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ari, what's happening, Ari? Let's see. Big B, you are very well and healthy moving to Tennessee. I didn't know you were unwell. Were you sick, Baron? Jerry Frank, hey UT, I've been working on my 71 Dart. I'm having to replace the power steering gearbox. I didn't think I'd ever get it out of the car. It's a tricky one, right? It's a tricky one. They come in and out without pulling the motor. I mean, obviously, but yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Ari, you just rebuilt the old Delco distributor in your pickup. Excellent. Mostly all parts. It's Ron Ward. What's happening? What are your thoughts on using a full manual valve body for a street car? What kind of street car? You know what I mean? Is it a street car you drive in traffic every day? That type of street car? No. Why? Why would you want to do that? But I mean, if it's one of those, like if it's a Saturday night special type of car, then sure, why not? Don and Wendy English want to thank all for the condolences. This is truly a great set of people. And I agree with that. This is a great set of people. FF, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Hey, Uncle Tony, 74 Valiant, slant automatic, one owner, 78,000, grandma shopping dense. They want 1,500. What do you think? Bro, that is such a fantastic driver. Slant automatic, one owner, 70. That is a fantastic driver. If you could pick that up for 1,500 bucks, even if you got to throw like another 1,500 at it to make it like roadworthy, right? Yeah, I would dive all over that, definitely. Um, Big B, here's the link. Published in the Journal of Sustainable and Renewable Energy. Please here. Okay. Oh, I don't really see the link. Eric Conway, you just placed an order with your 20% discount. Excellent. Thank you, Eric. Starduster, I had a 78 Roadrunner white with the red, orange, and yellow stripes. Fun car. Okay, like, okay, so like, you think of like Roadrunners, you think like, 68 to like 72, 73, 74, like that, manly, right, right? Especially like the early ones, 68, 69, 70, right? They're like brutal looking cars, okay? But those Volare Roadrunners, right? Especially like the one you had there, the white one with that orange and red type of striping and stuff. They popped, man. Those things were really eye catching. The 76, 77 with the Spitfire orange with the black and the yellow striping. That was another one too. Those cars were really, really eye popping. I didn't really appreciate them much in the day, but now that I look at them, I see pictures of them, and they're actually really nice cars. Oh, okay. John Nelson says a mod will need to approve the post for the link to show to the public. Would one of you mods uh, free up Baron's link so he can show the link because he's published, man. I think that's pretty cool. Um, Mr. Will, Tony, what car did the slant shine fit best? Best suited for the slant? The early A bodies, with the exception of the Barracudas. The Barracuda is about 400 pounds heavier than like the equivalent Valiant. Um, yeah, any of the early like the Valiants, man, especially like the road totes. I mean, the engine was literally designed for the road totes. So I would say that it shines best there. But any early A body, up to 66, I think is the ideal home, the perfect home for a slant six. Bill Brasky, some flowers. Thank you, sir. Here's a spacey meatball. Thank you, brother, man. Thank you. Um, Benjamin Penley, want to put a big block in my 77 Fury, original 225 car, long gone. What year K members will work? 73 and up. You've got the isolated K frame on there, so it's not like the earlier cars. So any 1973 up K frame will work. And there is a difference between small block and big block K frames in those years. It's not a big difference. Like you can put a big block on a small block K frame, but you got to do a little grinding where the oil pan would go. But yeah, you ideally you want to find a big block Cordova, Charger, Roadrunner, any of those 1973 and up K frames. BB, you missed us, man. I know we missed you too, brother. He's Buff Del Campo is still on his mission, working for a secret government project someplace in like Cheyenne Mountain or something like that. Um, let's see. Road toads. Yes, I know. Road toads. You love them things, man. Uh, Steve Sadusky, good old cars for cheap money are getting harder to find. So when you come across one, it's worthwhile to snatch it up, even if you have to sink some money into it. Absolutely. I'm going to do a video, probably this week, what I call precious metals, right? But a lot of people don't know. I'm very familiar with the actual precious metals markets, gold and silver and whatnot. But cars also fit into that category. So we're going to be doing a video on the automotive version of precious metals. And we'll be doing that soon, like this week, because it is very time to do this. Imports still suck. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. Our 284 3906 334 already hit 906 heads. Yes. Any good? Yes, they are fantastic. They're very good heads. I found a set in my friend's storage trailer. The exhaust valves are huge and only slightly smaller than the intake valves. Yes, grab them. Those are the heads that were used on the 1968, 69, and 70 high performance model. All big block Chryslers, but your 383 Magnums, 440 Magnums, six packs, they all have those 906 heads. So those are great heads. There's nothing special about them. They're just the regular production big block heads. But yeah, I would grab those. Alan McElroy, I've replaced my head gaskets 2-3 times within the last 3 years due to the back driver's side shiny, leaking coolant. Any ideas to fix aside from additives? Brand new Felpro hardware time. Bro, you obviously got a warped head or a warped block. I mean, you've got a warpage there. You got to fix it. There's some things you just can't, you know what I mean? There's some things you're not going to dance around. Fix it. Let's see. Either that or a crack. Yeah, it could be a crack. Most of all parts. Ron, do you have a plan to seal the hood scoop to the carburetor on Plan Z? Yeah, but before I even think about doing that, I want to know how much spacer I need under the carburetor. I don't want to have to keep remaking a seal for, you know what I mean? So once we've got that determined, you know what I mean, then I'll make a seal for it. Mike Batista, Olds 455 blow up so easily though. They blow up easily because they have such huge main bearings. It takes a ton of oil volume to keep the main bearings. You know, we did that video on oil pressure. But one of the things that some certain engines, because of the way they're built, have abnormally large main bearings, and an Oldsmobile is one of them like that. And that's the problem with those engines. There's so much real estate around the main bearing on those motors that it just keeps it takes a ton of oil to keep them happy. If you are going to build a 455 Olds, now I am not an expert on 455 Oldsmobiles, okay, but if I was to build one, knowing I've rebuilt, I mean, back at my regular mechanic days, I rebuilt probably, I don't know, 5, 6 of those things. So I'm very familiar with the insides of them. I've never hot rodded one. But if I was going to hot rod an Oldsmobile, I would go a little extra large on the clearance. I know that sounds counterproductive, right? Because it takes so much oil to keep them happy. But I would go a little bit larger. I would go like an extra thousands on the oil clearance on the mains, and I would feed it with a high volume pump. And I think that would be enough to keep the main wet, right? That's the thing. You got to keep that big main wet. So the more volume of oil you can put into that space, the less likelihood of the crank pushing it out of the way. Joel Woody, thank you, sir. Any recommendations for a 400 build I plan on doing, like intake and cam? Freiburger still sucks. God, it's hard for me to make recommendations on a build because there are literally, there's an infinite number of possibilities based on starting with what you want out of the car, what you expect it to do, and then you know the circumstances that it's going to be operated in, then all of the details of the car itself, the weight of the car, its traction capabilities. Like I can't just it's anybody who could just anybody who says they could just throw you a good or a valid intake manifold or cam suggestion for something like that without knowing every single aspect of the car is just pissing in the wind for you. They're just blowing smoke up your ass. There are too many details to just make a simple recommendation like that. Nathan Kerry, Tony, you should put a 440 on Bottle Rocket. No, Bottle Rocket is a 318. Bottle Rocket will always be a 318 because I want to see what we can do with the 318. Abel D, UT, what are your thoughts on the Chrysler K cars? Are they precious metals worthy? They're not, and the reason for that is because they have there's such a tiny number of survivors out there. There is zero aftermarket support. There's just like there's like a couple of dozen guys across the country who love K cars and K car derivatives and stuff like that, and they've hoarded enough parts to keep them busy, to keep them in business, but not enough to spread it around. So what happens is you end up with an orphan car like that, and it's like, you need you got a cracked cylinder head. Where do you got to go for one, right? Like little simple stuff like that. And that's why I don't recommend something like that. Burnout Garage. Check out Tony. Why does it take 20 minutes to break in a cam? I always think about how fast everything is moving, and I feel as if something would go wrong. It happened within 5 minutes. What's your take? The 20-minute thing is an average. You're probably right. Within 5 minutes or so, it's probably, and that's a key word there, right? It's probably okay after 5 minutes, after 6 minutes, 7 minutes. I don't know. The 20-minute number is like a definite, right? So it may be done in 3 minutes. It may be done in 8 minutes. It'll definitely be done in 20 minutes. By that point, you know what I mean? Anything that's going to form a relationship has formed the relationship. If you're going to have a problem, you're going to have a problem there. So that's where the 20-minute thing is just a ballpark number that will cover all of your possible bases. And so that's why I stick by that, the 20-minute, and that's why most people who do this type of stuff stick with that 20-minute thing. 426 Hemi says, agree. 20 minutes is good and safe. I'm sure it's overkill, but why risk it? Exactly. Defta, Tony, what is your favorite Oldsmobile? 64 442. I like the 64s. Yeah, don't ask me why, man. Don't ask me why. I just like those the best. The holiday coupe, with the little 440. Right? I love those. French Onion, how are you doing, French Onion? All is well. I hope all is well for you, my friend. We the people, are you really going to be a Tesla family? No, man, I'm not going to go buy a Tesla. All I'm saying is that Tesla at least is honest about their business, man. I listen, I don't agree with what they do. I hate the way they treat their customers. I hate the whole aftermarket. There's a lot of things wrong with Tesla, with the Tesla business model. Okay, but to say that, as much as I hate the way they do business, right? They are straightforward. They're an electric car company. They build electric cars. This is what they do, and they build blindingly, ridiculously, insanely fast electric cars. They build electric cars that are faster than really any road going machine should ever be. Okay, when you could take on a freaking McLaren with something that you go get groceries with, and you see what I'm talking about? Like, this is truly astounding, amazing, stupendous stuff. So as much as I don't like the business model, I do like what they've done with the cars. I think Musk is a real character. I get a kick out of him. I don't even think he's human, to tell you the truth. I think he's from someplace else. And so, but the whole Dodge thing, the whole sneaky, underhanded, screw you guys, right? I, Tesla, go Tesla. Um, let's see. Jody Stover, can I run a 725 welded in a 76 Aspen? Well, it depends how much horsepower you're putting through it. Hemi hit 68. Did I eat lots of turkey for Thanksgiving? No, I mostly ham. I carved the turkey and then I ate the ham. Personally, personally, I blame Entenmann's. Colt Speed 33, the Rivian EV truck is starting to roll out. That's a company to watch as well. I tell you what, honestly, right? And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Okay, but I've been watching this whole Rivian thing from a market standpoint. Okay, and I would not be surprised. It looks to me like Rivian is a scam. I do not believe. I don't think. You know what I mean? No, I don't see Rivian actually mass producing anything. I see Rivian going tits up at just the right time. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and I hope that I'm not. I hope that I'm not. But I would not be investing in Rivian. I would not be putting any weight in Rivian. I know all about, I know Amazon contracts and all that. I know. I follow this stuff. No, no. Um, yeah, Kathy saying, okay, this is not financial advice. Burnout Garage, hey, did you see 318 will runs video on green bearings? I've never run them. What's your experience? Yeah, no, I didn't see his video. Yes, I've used green bearings. Okay, here's the upside of you have two upsides and one downside to the green bearing, right? The one upside is you don't have to adjust end plate. Done. Okay, the bearing is on there and it's done. The second advantage, and the reason that I like them, is because they take less parasitic drag to turn them. The tapered bearing takes more power to turn than the green bearing, which is just a straight roller bearing. The downside is if you do any type of handling with it, because like let's say you're building a car and you want to go like autocross it occasionally or anything like that, do not use the green bearings. They're not intended to be used for that. So, and that's why Chrysler used a taper bearing on them, on those rear ends. And the green bearing is not intended to hold that kind of load. Like for instance, okay, where Chrysler used a straight bearing, where any manufacturer used a straight bearing, the straight bearing is always pressed into the housing, and the axle floats on the bearing. So you can make turns, and the axle is free to go back and forth. The green bearing is pressed onto the axle. So any loading, side to side loading, is pushing the rollers against, right? So you don't want to use a green bearing for anything that makes high speed turns or anything like that. But for drag racing or like regular street use, when we're not making turns, crazy turns, then the green bearing is great. Mike Batista, who owns the Fury with the hopped up 318 poly? That's Austin from the Junkyard Jet Crew. They were here today. We'll have their video up tomorrow. They've been making great progress on the car. I'm breathing paint fumes. They painted all kinds of shit in there today. And so it's like I'm kind of lightheaded from the paint fumes in here right now. Let's see. Olive says, I haven't really followed the Rivian thing. It'd be interesting if they come up with the first practical truck out there in any numbers. Okay, here's the thing with Rivian. Okay, they've only produced like, and this is a number I'm going to pull out of my ass, but I might actually be the number. They've only produced like 125 cars, and all of those cars were sold to their employees. Now they've got contracts to build. They're saying that they're going to build a million freaking cars. They've got contracts with Amazon and all kinds of other things. And the basic idea behind the Rivian is sound. I love the basic idea. I don't know if you're not familiar, but the Rivian is just, it's one platform that they put different bodies on, right? I mean, just exactly like a slot car. So you got a slot car chassis, and you want it to be a pickup truck today, and you want it to be a Volkswagen tomorrow, and you want it to be a whatever the next day. You just snap the bodies on and off, and that's the basic idea behind the Rivian platform. And I think it's fantastic, but they're not set up to produce any mass production. Everything they've built so far is hand built. They don't have any of the infrastructure put in place to mass produce yet. And they've already, I mean, they're committed to make these. So I just don't see how it's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to even get all the employees they're going to get. I don't know how they got to finish off their factories, and then they got to man the factories to produce these huge numbers of vehicles that they've already committed to. There's just no way. It's just no way. Lack of a factory could be a thing, right? Exactly. Um, Tony Vega, they don't just heavily market stuff before ready to deliver. Um, Hemi hit 68. Are there any long-term negative consequences for removing the heat riser pipe between the manifold and back of carburetor? You're talking about on a Hemi? They take forever to warm up, bro. If you're talking about the 426 Hemi has. I try to do these things on Wednesday night, the tech talk, and try to keep this more general conversation, but I've never seen you there, so I'll just answer it for you real quick. The 426 Hemi has two heat tubes that come up from the bottom of the motor. One comes from the exhaust manifold, the passenger side exhaust manifold, and one from the pipe that goes directly past the exhaust manifold. And they both come up like this, and they plug into the back of the intake manifold, and they circulate exhaust gas through the bottom of the intake manifold. Well, the thing is, if you eliminate those, right, when I tell you it takes forever for the intake manifold to reach operating temperature, you just forget about a quick warm up. It ain't gonna happen, right? You could drive one of those engines for a good 10 minutes, and the intake manifold will the whole engine will be regular operating temperature, and the intake manifold will still be cool to the touch. So for streetability, for regular streetability, it's an issue. It's an issue. 420 Illuminator, my bet Tesla absorbed Rivian. That is a good bet. Need metal, thank you, sir. EVs will actually lower the fuel consumption among a manufacturer's product line, which will ease the requirements for their internal combustion cars. Yeah. Hemi Head. Oh, anytime, Hemi Head. You're welcome, my brother. Auto 1303, fuel will be too dense without the preheat. Stoic Steel. I don't think EV pickups will be very useful for pulling trailers for more than a few miles. Here's the thing, right, about commercial EVs. Commercial EVs are going to always be subject to fast charge. You know what I mean? Like, there's never going to be anything. There's never going to be anything like a slow charge with a commercial vehicle. It's all. I can see this now because, in theory, yeah, plug it in overnight and let it charge up, and it's good to go for the whole day tomorrow. I don't see that happening. You're going to see people who are using EVs as work vehicles, as work trucks, where they're in a situation, they get caught in traffic, or they got to pull an extra heavy load, or they got to make an extra stop they weren't expecting. I see those things being blast charged constantly, and that drastically shortens the life of the batteries. So I would not consider an EV for a quote work truck. A truck that you drive to work is a different story, but a truck that you actually use to work, man, I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. let's see. Joe Case, when will a Tesla join the UTG fleet? A couple of years after I'm dead, probably. And again, see, it's not that I have anything against one. I have no desire to own one, right? I have no desire to own a Tesla or any well, I shouldn't say any electric car. If there was a analog electric car out there, right? If there was a simply designed analog electric car. What's going on, John Wilburn? I didn't see you pop in there, brother. How are you? If there was an analog basic electric car out there, um, I would definitely be interested. And it has nothing to do with that it's the fad or it's the thing. I think it would be a cool thing to play with. I mean, like I said, to me, motivation is motivation. It could be electric, it could be steam, it could be internal. I love internal combustion engines, but I'm a gearhead. So anything mechanical interests me. And so electric cars fit into that category. They're a device that interests me. But the way electric cars are built or equipped today, that turns me off. I don't want everything off of a touchscreen. I don't want that. I want you give me a simple electric car, right? That has this is a big ass rheostat throttle. You know what I mean? And everything conventional where I can, if the heater stops working, I can, it's a separate now. And you hit the switch, the heater goes on, hit switch, beep, the heater goes off. None of this touchscreen stuff. I don't want everything fed through a computer and everything else. Come up with a basic analog electric car. And yeah, I would absolutely want to screw around with one. Let's see. Zero. Uh, Zero says, mention the antisocial Tesla car meets at the Westminster Mall. Just parked in the dark, 20 plus cars just charging. This is the future. I don't know how they're going to do it. They're going to have to, Jesus. I don't want to go into it's all conspiracy stuff. I don't want to go into that. But Mike Batista, you think a hybrid makes more sense than a full EV? Yes, of course it does. I mean, why they're not going that direction? Well, I don't know. It makes no sense to me at all. I mean, the diesel locomotive is the perfect example of diesel locomotive is the ultimate example of hybrid technology. Okay, it it's been around since the 1920s, 1930s. The whole system has basically been unchanged since then, right? It's the perfect hybrid. Now, why the model of the diesel locomotive can't be downsized and used effectively in as regular transportation, I have no idea. In fact, I always wondered why big trucks, why your over the road trucks aren't patterned after diesel locomotives. Why is the engine directly running the drivetrain? You've got so much loss through the friggin' drivetrain. Why not use the diesel to run a generator to power electric motors that power the axles? I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. Why it was never adopted by over-the-road trucks, I have no idea, because it's the perfect grunt technology. But Joe Case, give me a hit and miss powered car over electric. Did you see? Have you seen the hit and miss pickup truck? Right? You do a YouTube search on that. There's a guy that put this giant like 1905 hit and miss engine on a pickup truck, and he drives this thing around. Stoic Steel, have any videos been done on EV batteries in minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit weather? No, nobody wants to see that. I mean, we want to see that, but nobody who's in that industry, the automotive industry, wants to see what happens or have people know what happens in a minus 20 degree place. Um, Battery repair will be a good business. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't think battery repair. Now I've seen videos of how they repair these batteries, how they pick cells. They can change individual cells within the battery. But I don't know if that would be a good business. I don't know. Joseph Giannini, you can't repair lithium batteries. You can. You can't repair the cell, but the batteries are made up of many cells, and you can find a bad cell and change them out. But um, the way I look at it is, it's like Christmas tree lights. Okay, so you plug in, you take a set of lights out of the attic, and you plug them in, and half the lights don't work. Okay, so then you go and you find the one that was in the string that keeps the other ones from working, and you change it out. But you can almost guarantee that there'll be another dead one before you know what I'm saying. So it's like so the cell repairs aren't cheap. You're looking at $4, 5, $6,000 to repair a couple of cells in the battery. Now, after you do that, what's to say within the next couple of charging cycles, another couple of cells don't take a dump? So I don't know if battery repair is going to be too viable a business. There's too many liabilities from a comeback standpoint. Loud burns. My daughter loves her Model Y, all warm and toasty in the morning, 12 miles to work, plug it in home, and goes like stink. Loud, I hope your daughter is not parking that thing close to the house. Right? I swear to, I'm not saying this lightly. I'm not joking around, man. I hope she's not plugging it in close to the house. Make sure she's plugging it in, because I just watched a video yesterday. I just saw a video of a Tesla that was charging in somebody's driveway, okay, and the thing just went up in flames and it took out the house because it was parked so close to the house. So if she is charging her Tesla, bro, I'm serious. Tell her, park it outside and away from the house, far enough away from the house that if it does catch fire, it ain't going to take out the house. Uh, Nicholas B. Uncle Tony, I don't think that Dodge will make the new Chargers and Challengers only EV. It's to sell cars right now, then announce they will still have gas. They're okay. The only gas engine they're going to have is the Hemi, a hybrid version of the Hemi for the Durango. Everything else, 2024, is going to be pure electric. And everything that they're doing right now is to build product awareness, performance awareness. They're going to position themselves to be the performance electric car company. So that's, what I mean. So everything they're doing right now is using over the next 24 months. Everything they're doing now is a lead up to the electric cars. So yeah, they're going to be screwing around with the traditional Hellcat powered cars, but it's all a matter of like positioning themselves to be the performance car, electric performance car division. So yeah, no, it's Danny Boyd found on road discharge. Um, Doug Rutley, the Chinese foresaw the drive for lithium, therefore they gobbled up investments around the globe. Tesla out their latest battery factory, where in Nevada? No, you got that backwards, brother, man. The Chinese are the ones who are forcing the hand of these companies that they own huge shares of. The Chinese are the ones who are forcing the hands of these companies to go electric. It's not that they knew that electric vehicles were coming and so they bought up the lithium ones. No, it's the other way around. They went out and reset, secured all of the lithium, and then they're forcing corporations around the world to go that way. So it's you got the cart before the horse. Eric Plank, what is needed is Mr. Fusion. Billy Bob Holcomb, if we cannot wash laundry in the middle of the day, how will we have enough power to keep these cars charged? Right? I know. Um, Joe K, it's government related, the ever increasing EPA ratings. Well, some people might say that it's because the Chinese own that too. Mike Batista, well, if they force you to drive electric cars, what can we do? They can't force everybody to drive electric cars. It's not practical. It can't be done. They can't force everybody to drive electric cars. They can't. Local areas can ban the use of electric cars within their territory. So let's say New York City or Los Angeles, whatever, can ban electric cars within the city limits, or ban internal combustion engine cars within the city limits. That's entirely possible. But for the federal government to ban internal combustion engine cars across the country, not only is it impossible, but it's impractical, and it doesn't serve anybody any good. It's not gonna that's not gonna happen. You will always, at least in our lifetimes and our kids' lifetimes, there will always be the option of internal combustion engine. But what are you going to have to do to get there? That's the question. Well, this is going really fast. Oh, it's Austin, Junkyard Jack Austin. Uh, if every squirrel on Earth exploded at the same time with the force of a stick of dynamite at the exact same time, would the world survive? This is something the guys and I were talking about today. Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, listen, there would be a lot. Okay, so if every squirrel on the planet exploded all at once, there would definitely be a huge amount of damage, but it would be localized because squirrels are not evenly placed. You know what I'm saying? And they're especially not evenly placed in like where there's infrastructure. So you're not going to find clumps of squirrels around power plants, within the confines of power plants, or basically we're in cities or anything like that. You're not going to find big clusters of squirrels in crucial infrastructure areas. So yeah, it would cause a lot of damage, but mostly it would be rural and in the suburbs. You wouldn't find, yeah, the world would be fine. Squirrels cause airbursts. Well, no, if you were to airburst every squirrel on the planet at the same time, that could be a problem. That could be a problem. Um, Billy Bob Hogan, when squirrel is dead, moose will be next. Yes, I know. Um, Mr. Swinger one. They will prorate it and say during your lifetime you were expected to expel X amount of methane gas, and for that you must pay. Well, I mean, Mr. Swinger, that is a distinct possibility, but you know what? Collect it from us. Go ahead and collect it. Try to collect it from me. See how much of that you're going to get. Abel D, UT, would you ever electrify any vintage car or convert a Tesla to a 426 Hemi for the channel? Yeah, I probably would not convert a Tesla to a. Rich Rebuilds did a Tesla, an LS swap Tesla, which I thought was pretty cool. No, I probably would not do that. Now, as far as electrifying a vintage car, as long as I'm being honest with you, it's something I would play with, right? If let's just say one of these companies that's trying to promote electric car conversions for the electric car packages, for conversion packages for older cars. Let's just say one of them was to contact me and say, hey, do you want to try one of these kits? As long as I didn't have to butcher the car, that an internal combustion engine could go back in, I would do it just to play with it, because why not? It could be fun. It's not a movement that I'm embracing or anything like that. But as long as I don't have to butcher the car, meaning that I can never put, the original motor and trans back in it, yeah, I would play around with something like that. Now, would I buy it? No, I wouldn't. I would not dig into my pocket and invest in something like that. If one of those companies wanted to promote their thing and have us try one of the kits, yeah, I would definitely play around with that. Only because it could be fun, and it's something different. You get to my age, right? Something different is always interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you've done it, right? I've been there, I've done it. I have seen goats fuck in the marketplace, right? There's just nothing under the sun that I ever had any interest in that I haven't tried. So something new, right? That could be interesting, that could be fun. Yeah, I'm wide open to it. Hemi Head, thank you, sir. You do great work, Tony. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I really do try my best. I don't think it always comes across. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I always get the best results, but I swear to God, I really do try. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I know Ford now offers an electric motor as a replacement for vintage cars. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. There's a lot of that going around, but I don't think I don't think it's going to be trouble free enough to over the long term, right? So it's okay. Perfect example, right? Is the modern engine swaps into vintage cars. So this has been the rage now for the last, I don't know, 15 years, right? Or so, with people putting, Hemis and LSs and whatnot, converting and all of the computer stuff into older cars, right? And while here's the thing, right? If you look, let's say there's 20 of those, let's say in your neighborhood, okay, in your area, there's 20 people who have converted their vintage cars to modern powertrains, electronics, right? But how many of them actually function? Okay, that's the thing. How many of them are actually functional automobiles? So and it's very few. If 20 people have built resto mods, you know what I mean, in your neck of the woods, go to a local show or a meet, and you're only going to see 3 of those cars, because the rest of them they're ironing out their problems. You know what I mean? Because there's always problems, infinite problems that nobody can ever solve with them. And I think you're going to have the same thing with these electronic conversions. It's like, yeah, they'll be popular. People will buy them and they'll put them together. But longer term, I don't think there are so many bugs and there are so many things that you just can't whip out the screwdriver and say, aha, there's the problem. You can't do that with one of these. And so I think that because they're technically over the head of the average enthusiast tinkerer, I don't think it's going to be a long-lasting thing. Mr. Wiltone, will you ever do another live with Drag Boss? I certainly would. Doug Rutley, I see internal combustion non-diesel engines can run on propane, natural gas, alcohols. I think it will be fine and it will always be an aftermarket for enthusiasts. Exactly. We just need to make our voice heard, state, local government. You remember something now? When the internal combustion engine took over, right, in the early part of the 20th century, the late part of the 19th century, and the early part of the 20th century, there were no gasoline stations everywhere. Farmers made ethanol. They ran these things on ethanol. They had a still that they were making liquor, and then when they weren't making liquor, they made the fuel to run their cars on. Right? That's how these things got around. So if you're into if you're into internal combustion engines, yeah, gasoline could actually completely disappear from the face of the planet. But we will always be able to run our internal combustion engines on alcohol, on propane, on natural gas, on all different things. So yeah, it's not a doomsday scenario for us. It won't maybe not be the same, but it's definitely not doom. New King, you should do a show with Reverend Evan. You know, I think Kathy actually reached out to him today about doing a show with us. I love Evan. I know Evan. I know Evan for almost 40 years now. Um, yeah, we'll definitely do a thing with Evan. One band AMX. Uncle Tony, what's the name of the electric car company that's a great great grandpa to Chrysler? Electrobat, right? You know, I love that name. Electrobat. 1894. 318 Hey, what's happening, brother man? Somebody just asked me about your green bearing video. I like my Lionel train set when I was little, but it was noisy and threw sparks. I like that. With the third rail down the center, yeah. Meg Batista, yeah, homemade 85. Now you're talking. William Sanders, yeah, do an episode with Evan. I love his channel. Did you see his new wagon? Just briefly. I was surfing yesterday, I think it was, and I saw it. That thing is beautiful. That thing with the 4 speed and all, that is just too much. Yeah, I may have to go down to Florida just to drive that thing. Only if Evan is smart, he knows not to hand me the keys to that. Uh, Auto 13. You guys talk about Petronics. If so, have a yeah, Petronics are fine. Petron, I got, I've had two Petronics ignitions. I've come across two of them that went bad, right? They both went bad the same way. Um, but for the most part, they are reliable. And the nice thing about the Petronics is if it does screw up on you, if you just carry a set of points and a condenser, you can swap it over right on the side of the road. So that's the one good thing Petronics has going for it. Mr. Swinger, it's like being an outlaw driving an old car. Cops see you coming a mile away. Always been like that. But Mr. Swinger, if where you are is like here, the cops love the old cars. Most of the cops around here have old cars of their own, and they're more likely to pull you over to like check out the car and give you a thumbs up than they are to give you a ticket of any sort. It's not like that everywhere, I know, but here in Tennessee, that's exactly how it is. Mr. Slinger, cops want to pull you over for the side marker out on a 69 Dart. That's an inside Mopar joke. A lot of guys won't get that. 1969 Chrysler products had markers, had side markers, but they were only reflectors. There was no light in them. That's the only year. Every other year was lit up. Mike Batista, I liked my Petronics. One time my MSD box failed, so I wired the Petronics and got me home. Yeah, again, backup systems are always good. You know, even if you run points, I run points on all my cars. And I carry an extra set of points and an extra condenser. I always have, you know, always will. So I mean, it's always good to have a backup, you know, which is one of the problems with your really intricate, you know, complicated computer systems, right? Like or aftermarket EFI and shit. It's like, you know, you can't just carry everything with you. But simple, man, simple is good. Dickie Farley, here in Southern Ohio, that's exactly how it is to be. Every time I know I'm not breaking the law and my car is fully legal and I get pulled over, that's what it is. Just cops check, want to look at the car. Yeah, I know. Um, let's see. Olive, actually, Rich Rebuilds did a flood recovery a couple of years ago. Mr. William might look for that. I don't know what you guys are talking about as far as the EVs and floods. I mean, the batteries are sealed. You know what I mean? The batteries are sealed. It's not, you know, it's not going, you know, it's not going anywhere. Um, you could submerge the battery would be fine. William Sanders, I really don't think a good EV motorcycle is an attainable thing. I mean, Harley Davidson's trying with the live wire, but I mean, I think they actually canceled it now because they sold. They were expecting to sell like hundreds of thousands of these things, and they sold like 700, right? They tried, but it's got like no range at all. It's got like a 75-mile range. It's like, what the hell do you do with this thing? You know, and that's fine. Okay, so if you build on a little city bike, now like these electric scooters are huge. Electric bicycles are huge. And I just watched a video of a guy testing out one of these electric mini electric motorcycles, and this guy's wheeling it around all over the place. And he was like a doubter when he got on it. He was like a real doubter. You know, I don't know about this. I usually ride blah 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 whatever it is. I think this is a joke. And by the end of the video, he just had this big smile on his face. He's like, you know, I rode this thing around for 2 hours, and I want to ride it around for another 2 hours. So you know, there's listen, there's good and there's bad in everything. You know what I mean? Just because something, you know, you could be an internal combustion fanatic. Just because something electric doesn't mean it's automatically bad. Some things can actually be cool and fun. You got to keep an open mind towards everything. Eric Plant, guys, if you are interested, Rich Rebuilds is a gold mine of info and sarcasm. Rich Rebuilds is one of the best. Rich Rebuilds, Rich is what I would consider to be one of the apex YouTubers. Okay, the guy is just like he was born to do YouTube. If you guys aren't familiar with Rich Rebuilds, go watch his channel. He, like I said, he is the apex YouTuber. The guy is just amazing. He was like this. This business was designed for him. Eric Plant, Livewire is a fantastic bike. You know, I haven't heard anything bad. I mean, its performance is good, right? The range is the big problem with it. Tim Letterbrand, just getting into building Mopars. Love this content. Thanks for all the knowledge. You're quite welcome, my brother. Hunter Skaggs, Tony, can, can I refuse pistons that have minor scoring on the skirts? You can only feel it if you use your fingernail, but your fingernail doesn't catch. No, why? Fine, leave it. Run it. It's on the skirt. As long as you don't see any cracks, and as long as the imperfection doesn't run into a flat, into an open surface, right? Like, you know, like the edge is just kind of like a little divot, perhaps, in the skirt itself. Run it, man. It's fine. Just it'll fill with oil. It'll be fine. Don't stress it. Um, Eric Plant, the problem is that it's marketed to a group that is diehard gas junkies. Yes, I agree with that. It's the wrong product for that for Harley Davidson. I think that if Honda had come up, okay, so look at what Honda's doing, right? So Mike Batista saying that they have some electric bicycles that'll do over 60 miles an hour. People are hurting themselves. Look at what Honda is doing. Now, if you're of the mindset that we're on our way to severely bad economic times, right? Look at what Honda is doing right now, and it has been over the last 2 years, but they've really ramped it up now. Okay, Honda has gone full on basic transportation mini motorcycle, right? They're pushing it. So they started with the Grom a few years ago. They sold an ass ton of Groms, right? And it became like a cult bike, right? And people love them. They do everything with them. Now, a couple of years ago, they re-released the Cub. Now they got the CT 125, which is just, I mean, there's like great retro devices. Now they got this thing called the Honda Navi, right? Which I think they're going to sell a zillion of these things. The Honda Navi is basically a scooter, but it's not a scooter. It's scooter in the form of a motorcycle. So in other words, instead of being step through, because there's such a limited market for step through. Now this thing is like it's like an overgrown mini bike, and it's got a basic scooter, you know, and the thing will do 50 miles an hour and I get 150 miles to the gallon. It's got points, it's got a carburetor, and it's got a Kickstarter, right? Think about this, right? This is a brand new Honda, okay? Brand new. It's got a carburetor and a freaking Kickstarter, okay? So Honda is like going crazy now with these mini motors. So if in my mind, that's a sign of economic apocalypse. They're actually gearing up to be a dominant force in a severely compromised economic situation, because the rest of the world uses these things as regular transportation. The best-selling motorcycle of all time, and all best-selling vehicle, don't forget about motorcycle, the best-selling vehicle of all time, right, is the Honda Cub. And you're talking about, I mean, they sold over 100 million of these things, over 100 million of them. They sold a handful of them here in this country, but all over the world, people still use them as their primary source of transportation all over the friggin' world. And Honda is taking this market and pushing it hard here in this country now. I think they know something that we should all be aware of. Zach Roberts, I've had a Trail 125 on order since August. Really? Honda has sold so many they aren't giving customers order timelines. Real, bro, what was the cost of, what's your, did they give you a cost on that? I'm very, very seriously thinking about buying one of those 125s. Very seriously thinking about buying one. Rogersville, yeah, they're making a 125 that looks just like the Trail 90. I know. Pentastar runs side pipes on the slag hammer. No, undercar exhaust. Just mufflers hanging off of just a pair of header mufflers. Eric Klein, Honda knows what the consumer wants. No, absolutely. The mini moto thing is huge, and it's going to get huger. Wild Rose Garage, your brother has a 64 Trail 90 and a Cub, pushable motors, push tube motors. Donovan Shovin, is the Slant 6 Miata project going okay? I'm dying over here. Yeah, I finished that like 3 months ago. We ran it around a couple of times. The Junkyard Jet guys were out screwing around with it yesterday, or not yesterday, last week. They were taking around the parking lot. The gas filter gets clogged after you run it for about 15 minutes. So the gas filter's clogged on it again. Yeah, it runs. It's all there. I just haven't done anything with it yet. What is Slag Hammer going to weigh? I'm estimating about 3,300 pounds. Well, I did a rough. I sat down and I added the known weights of all the different things and estimated a few others. And the high side is going to be about 3,300 pounds, probably close to like 3,100. That goes in you for 37,490 manufacturer, 3,700 bucks MSRP. That's a little pricey for a moped, bro. It's not a moped. It's not a moped. If you've never ridden one of those things, you can't appreciate them. Okay, you cannot appreciate them. It is not a moped. Zach Roberts, a restored Trail 90 or CT70 is 3,500 plus all day at vintage sale. I know, I know. No, the trail. I listen. The mini moto thing, right? I want a part of that. I know. Like a lot of you guys, that's a problem with this channel. Okay, like a huge portion of our population is into. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm into big old Mopars, right? Big engines and big this and big that. Yeah, I love that stuff, but I also love little things too. You know what I mean? And it's like that's one of the problems with this channel. It's like I can't really fully go into all of my interests or likes because I just get just like bombarded with that's not what I've subscribed to you for. It's like, well, then don't watch that video, right? It's just if I do anything with these little Hondas, which I'm telling you, I'm gonna go home tonight and watch little Honda videos because like that's my newest infatuation. Okay, and it's like I can't dive into it because you guys are going nuts. Not all of you, obviously. Doug Butler, you have a thing for old Vespa scooters? Yeah, Mr. Will, you hate Hondas. What is there to hate about Hondas? Kathy and I were just talking. We were eating before, and um, we were eating before, and we were talking, and the subject of Hondas came up, and I said, you know what? Out of all of the corporations in the world, Honda is the only one I actually trust to do the right thing, right? But Honda is the only corporation in the world, okay, that I trust. Like I would say, like so you asked me like, how do you feel about this corporation? How do you feel about that corporation? And if you ask me about Honda, okay, the first word that comes to my mind is I trust Honda, right? But the Honda has produced, yeah, they've had a couple of boners along the way, right? But if you look at the design legacy of Honda going all the way back to the 1950s, they've produced the most amazing machines, and they've done it like Hondas are not only they're reliable, they're repairable. You know what I mean? That's why the racer kids are all over the Hondas because you could do so much with them for cheap, and you could do it at home. You know, Honda seems to be the only corporation that I'm aware of that has kind of like stuck to the values of its founder. And Mr. Honda was just absolutely. I mean, you figure out. Leave countries out of it for a minute. Mr. Honda was just like a human success story. The guy was just pure brilliance all the way through. So Honda is probably the only corporation in the world that I actually trust. Like I would buy a Honda something without thinking about it. Eric Plant, I bought a Honda as a commuter because I believe in them. Yeah, scrappy hustler. Right now I'm restoring an old Indian mini bike. Nice. And it's just my kick at the moment. I jump around a ton of different hobbies, etc. RC, planes, trucks, cars, bikes, motorcycles, ATVs, tractors, etc., etc. You're living the right way, man. Seriously, you're living the right way. You know, it's like this is my kick today, and when I'm tired of this kick, I'll roll this on the side, and I'll do that one. And when I'm tired of that one, I'll roll that one on the side, and I'll do this one. And when I get tired out, I go back to the first one, and you have a nice variety. You know, and the thing about that is that you'll learn things from screwing around with your RC cars. You'll find a tidbit of knowledge someplace that you'll apply to your tractor. You'll find something when screwing around with your tractor that you'll turn around and, oh, wait, this makes sense. I'll use this on my race car. And you'll find something on your race car and you'll use that on your mini bike. And that's how you become well-rounded, and that's how you become knowledgeable. That's how you ace the hobby of, the automotive or the machine hobby. No Nemo, UT, any thoughts on getting back into boats? Bro, are you a psychic? Are you a psychic? I I myself my personal ass is done with boats. But but I have something. And we're going to do a video on it this week. Doug Rutley, neighbor tore his 330,000 mile Civic motor down to replace head gasket, engine looked brand new inside. Yeah, I know. Uh, Seaman Surfer, Doug Rutley, I was thinking the HF, the Harbor Freight Predator looks familiar. Yeah, and there's a Chinese motorcycle company called Lifan, Lifan, and it's all Honda clones. Um, and they actually build a decent. I had one. I had one of these bikes. Somebody had given it to me. This is I don't know, probably about 10 years ago. Around 10 years ago, and it was a life end. It was a clone of the of a Honda 250, and it was actually a good bike. The thing ran good. It had good power for what it was. The plastic on it was like really cheap. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those buzzing, vibrating type of things, because the plastic was a little too hard. But the actual engine, transmission, the driveline, the mechanics of the bike were as good as anything Japanese. And it was a clone of a Honda. Um, Dan Edwards, I want a Honda Rebel 250, rake, stretch, Springer, banana seat, sissy bars, and big handlebars. Right? Apes on a Rebel. Zero, saying the first open header motor I ever heard, 455 on a flat bottom. Wow, it changed my life. Joe K, is cheap boat an oxymoron? No, you can actually get into the boat thing really cheap, and I'm going to show you how. Uh, oh, geez. Wow, we're at a minute 35 already. Hour 35. We the people, 71,383, what are the best heads that fit? The ones that are on it. Nut House Nut. That's a good name, man. Hey, Tony, it's a shame that you guys never got the Aussie 245 Hemi over there. It would be good to see what you thought about them. We never got any. I mean, I have nothing but respect for the motor. I know what you people have done with them, but we just never got any here. Now, we do have the Jeep motor, the 4-liter Jeep, which is actually very, very close in design to that to the Australian ME6. That goes in your boat is a hole in the water that you throw money into. Aircraft are the worst bang for the buck. Yeah, probably. Jay Russell Finch, how many divorces will you be responsible for introducing us to boats? I'm so. I mean, what's the difference? I'll tell you guys. I have two granddaughters. One is 6 and one is 2. Right. So we were thinking about what are we going to get them for Christmas? Okay. And it's like every year these kids get barraged with like toys. You know, as everybody in the family buys them, you know, this doll and that thing and this game and blah blah blah. Right. All these little like, these trinkets that just get used once and thrown away. Right. So Kathy and I were talking about it. And we were like, let's get them something that they'll use all year. That'll be like an adventure. Right. So my kid John, he's wanted a boat. So I says, let's get them a boat for Christmas. So that's what we did. I went out, I bought a boat the other day. It's on the side of the shop over here, and we're gonna do a whole thing on that. So it's yeah, we're gonna do one boat, right? But it's I'm not keeping it. It's for my granddaughters. In fact, we've already named it after the granddaughters. The Alley Cat. The little one's name is Allison, and the bigger's name is Caitlin. So it's the Alley Cat, and it's you'll see it. We're gonna do a video on it this week. Fubar just put up the link to our merch. Thank you, Fubar. Um, our shirts are on sale tomorrow. It's Cyber Monday. There's 20% off. And if you go to our community, the community section on, community, right? You go to community thing, there's the code for the shirts for 20% off tomorrow only. So Cyber Monday sale. What's the motor in the boat? It's a 3-liter Merc Cruiser, which is 2 cylinders cut. It's a 4-cylinder. It's 2 cylinders cut off of an old Chevy straight 6. Billy Bob Holcomb, an inboard outboard with a 440 motor would be a hoot. I know this is just I know I no hot rod. This is for my kid to take my granddaughters out on the lake. That's the only purpose. I know, not hot rodding this thing. You know what I mean? Not hot rodding it. Will Pigeon, good evening, Tony. Super shout out to you, brother man. Um, let's see. Donovan Sherman, laugh out loud next week. So we bought a second boat to hot rod. No, I already hot rodded one. The first boat I ever got, first boat I ever had was an 18-footer, and I hot rodded that thing. It had a small block in it, and I ended up. Please, it was a freaking disaster. It was a nightmare. Okay, Uncle Kathy will tell you stories about how when it exploded, she had to jump over the windshield. Bad, no, not going to do that anymore. No more hot rod boats. And then the second boat I had sunk. Right. So, and I'm not a boat guy, man. I'm not a boat guy. I don't really like, I don't like it enough to go through all the agita of owning one again. But again, it's for my grandkids. You know, it's so that they can go out on the lake with their family and you know have fun. Steve Sadusky, you ordered more shirts and stickers tonight with the discount code. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, Steve. Uh, Dakota's talking about how do you tell if used valve springs are worn out? You could use a bathroom scale, man. You could use a bathroom scale, and there are YouTube videos on how to check the procedure of checking valve springs, but you could check them yourself on a scale. Roger Isabel, Med's kicking your butt. Good night, Roger. Slant wave runner. No, man. I'm out. No, 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 no. Donovan Sherman, I was literally looking at slant six marine engines today because I had an idea about mating a marine and normal slant to make a V12, but slant six marines are unicorns. Um, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So you want to put one facing this way, right? And then you want to take another one facing the other way. So you want a reverse rotation motor to meet, right? I know exactly what you want to do because it's something I consider doing myself also. Um, yeah, the only thing you would really need is a reverse rotation camshaft. If you could find yourself a reverse rotation camshaft, I think, and gear assembly, I think you could probably do that. Crazy Wrench Garage, you're digging the Gearhead Monk shirt? Excellent. Sorry, how about a 318 Amphicar? I'm not into the water, man. It just doesn't do anything for me. I know a lot of people love being out on the water and stuff. You know, the beaches and lakes and so, and really, I swear to God, it does nothing for me. It's like I have no desire to be out there. Danny Boy, whistling diesel drove a school bus into a creek. Yeah, I know. Um, Otto 1303, Tony, did you ever hear back from the guy driving to Dallas on five cylinders in the Slant Six? He made it. I never heard back from him, but he made it. Mike Brown, do you know anything about AMC V8? Some. I know some. Uh, Lazy Home Ranch, Whistling Diesel is a national treasure. I agree. I agree. I know a lot of people don't like the kid, you know, for whatever reason, right? But I agree. He is a national treasure. Kathy doesn't get him. Kathy, I'm like, I'll be sitting there watching one of his videos, and Kathy will be like, "What do you get out of this guy?" And I'm like, "He's just awesome. I get the biggest kick out of him." Danny Wood, other than just destroying classics part. Okay, I'm with you on that, right? But here's the thing. That and you're talking about the F-250 that he rolled up into a ball, okay? And when I first saw that, okay, I felt the same way. I was like, why did you do that? Okay, destroy all the late model stuff you want, okay? But why would you do that to what looked to be a decent F-250, right? And I then if you watch later in the video, okay, After they rolled the thing up into a ball, you could see this thing was a polished turd. Like it was a rock bucket that was passed off as being a good truck, a nice truck. I don't think he would have done it otherwise. I don't think he would have just taken. He's a gearhead himself. I don't think he's of the type of person who would just randomly destroy something that had actual, that was good. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, okay, the Hilux. I agree. Yeah, the Hilux. He shouldn't have done that with the Hilux. Neutral drop and whistling diesel collaboration. That would be good. Eureka 7 Wave. He's chaotic. I like his energy. Bingo, you hit it right on the head. You're right. You're exactly right. I like his energy. He's got good energy. Stoic Steel. Uncle Tony, have you seen the Boss Garage video where they tried to get a Charger running and driving? I have not seen that. Well, pardon. Thank you. I'm on a UTG 318 video watching marathon. Uh, Donovan Chauvin, I like watching Cletus more. My dude out there buying a whole racetrack to spread his love of cars to the masses. I give Cletus all the respect in the world. I I don't really I don't really enjoy his channel very much. And I'm not saying anything bad about the channel. I don't know. It just doesn't. The videos themselves don't really talk to me. You know what I mean? Like maybe the subject matter. I don't know what it is. But I give Cletus all the respect in the world. I think what he's doing is fantastic. It's people like Cletus that are bringing new blood into our world. You know what I mean? His crew, Cletus, is creating a whole generation of brand new gearheads that are just fanatical, becoming fanatical about this stuff. So I mean, Cletus, I am grateful that we have Cletus in this world. Cletus is new school. Yeah, he's new school. Like, okay, like I love the Boosted Boys. I watch the Boosted Boys. They're as new school as you can get. It's just a different type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with new school or old school. It's just just I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it exactly. Your stuff is big money. I'm not big money. Yeah, Pentastar. I kind of agree. I kind of agree. Um, Jian Dao. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name. Jian Dao. Have you ever collaborated with the Aussie Mopar dudes? I haven't. And in my mind, if I'm going to collaborate with somebody, it's got to be local. I don't want to collaborate long distance. You know what I mean? Or like in an impersonal way, like you do part of a video, I'll do part of a video. If I'm going to collaborate with somebody, I want it to be together. We'll do something. We'll work on something together. So I probably won't be doing anything with. One bad AMX. Uncle Tony, do you see a 5 liter Fox bunny in your future? No, I see one in my past, but I don't see one in my future. Michael, do you know the specific color name for the 70 to 74 Mopar Blue engine paint? I don't. I don't. I just know it is Chrysler Blue. Chrysler Corporate Blue. Joe K, would you get involved in a 5-liter Fox body if it was not owned by you? Absolutely. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I do miss those cars. I had fun with those cars. And if somebody was to bring me one and say, "Hey, let's do this thing," I'm all about it. Let's do it. Like like the same like with Andy's GTX. I have zero desire to own a Hemi car, but he had a Hemi car and he wanted to do something with it and had the resources to make it happen, so we did it. So I would love to do something like that with a Fox Mustang. No Slant 6 powered Fox body, no. So Uncle Tony, you're painting my Mustang. You don't want me to paint anything, man. You don't want me to paint anything. Let's see. No, Danny, you already painted it with a roller. Ah, Mopar Den. There you go. Duplicolor EDE, blah, 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 blah. Mopar Den's got your color right there. Michael Grayson Campbell. Would you ever work on old Chevys? Bro, I could not count the number of old Chevys I've worked on. You know me as a Mopar guy, and I am a Mopar guy, but I could not count. I've worked on an uncountable number of old Chevys. Um, John M. For making a 302 Windsor truck engine, I'm porting some Fox body heads. Would you hog out the thermactor bumps? What makes sense to me since it's not enlarging the port. You can anything on the floor is the floor of the port is a dead area. I would definitely take the humps out. I wouldn't worry too much about increasing that. That's such an undersized port to begin with. I wouldn't stress going, taking a little metal off there. Um, let's see. Pentastar, slag hammer, heavy gold metallic roof, and heavy green metallic windows, body green Lexan. I'm leaving that up to Al, Ethan, and Kathy. Right, I'm gonna leave it up to them for the visuals on this car. Michael Grayson Campbell, what made you a Mopar guy and not a GM or Ford Camaro Chevelles? The design language of 1960s Chrysler products, the way they're laid out, the way they were assembled, the design language of them spoke to me directly, from a very early age. Because I'm a born gearhead, so I've always been observant of how things are constructed, laid out, and just the Chrysler design language spoke to me from the very beginning, and that's the way I've been. Um, Doug Rutley, UTG, trying to buy a couple of shirts. Need a hat, man. I think we've only got. I don't think we have any hats left. Kevin Dave, I've been a Mopar junkie since I was 15 years old. I got you beat by about 10 years, man. Donovan Chauvin. So I actually started with a love of the 95 style Mustang as a child. When I grew up and learned they were shit, I became a Mopar guy. What do you say that they're shit? Those cars get shit on, but they're really good. I mean, they're good basic hot rod material. I mean, I don't know why they get so much hate, you know? But I mean, don't get me wrong, welcome to the Mopar world. You know what I mean? We're glad to have you. But I don't understand why everybody hates on those SM95s. DMC Productions, good point. Thank you for bringing it up. Don't forget to send pics of your car to John Wilburn for his calendar and virtual car show. So, John Wilburn, John, are you still on here? John Wilburn is doing a virtual car show on his channel. So you go over to the channel's name is just John Wilburn. Go over there and check that out. And there's a link to it on our community page. I think Kathy posted it yesterday. Mr. Will, thank you, man. Tone, what do you think of a 57 DeSoto Firefly? I saw one for sale and fell in love with the letter car lines and nice front end. And price tag is good. Those DeSoto, that are the forward look era DeSotos are just the most beautiful cars. I mean, they're not even cars, man. They're freaking art objects. Um, I, I would, I would, I would buy one, but I would buy it more as like a decoration than a car. Does that make any sense? It's like the 61 Sportster I picked up, right? I don't think of it as a motorcycle. It's like I don't look at it and say, ah, I'm gonna take a trip on this thing. I don't think of it as a motorcycle. I think more of it as an art object that I'll occasionally take for a spin. You know what I mean? And maybe take it like to a Cars and Coffee or something like that. But I don't think of it as a motorcycle. Well, I would treat a 50s era Mopar like a 57 DeSoto, kind of along those same lines, where I wouldn't really think of it or treat it as a car. It's more of an art object that happens to run. And if you look at it from that perspective, then I think, yeah, man, go buy one. They're just most beautiful things. All right, Fubar just put the link to John Wilburn's channel. Thank you, Fubar. Um, Nick Stevens just blew up my 500 horse 5.9 Magnum last night. Rod through the block. What would cause this? It could be anything, man. I have no idea. If I was a psychic, I wouldn't be doing this stuff. Uh, VMAX BX. I got a 58 Firefly in my garage. It's pretty much a decoration. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it is a decoration. Now, if you have the room, you know what I mean. If you have the room, and you've got that the curator, because there's a lot of people. You see that like okay, like there's all different types of car people, right? So I'm like the gearhead, right? I just want to tinker and play with stuff. I don't really care, about much else. But then you've got the curator type, and the curator type is the one that preserves. You know what I mean? They're keeping it for the next generation, right? They just so if you've got that curator kind of like attitude towards his, then yeah, then that's exactly like, those are ultimate cars to have, man. Any of those forward look Mopars. Uh, Dan Edwards, what was with those K cars? Why were they such a hit? To know a K car is to love a K car. Yeah, you've never driven one. You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it. All right. Um, Guys, we're at the 2 hour mark, and I've talked my head off, and I got to stop now. So, like I said earlier, Steve Magnanti was supposed to be with us tonight, but he had something come up, and he couldn't make it tonight. He's going to be here next Sunday night. So next Sunday night, we've got Steve Maggs, and I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but whatever we talk about is going to be fun because he's just great, man. I know you guys love him. I love him. So we'll have him here next Sunday night, and guys. So as always, our amazing mods that keep this chat going. Just so nice, man. Just so nice. Uh, John, Ari, Fubar, Zero, in no particular order. I love all you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everybody contributed with Super Chat. Thank you. You have no idea how much we appreciate that. It keeps the lights on. It keeps the wheels turning. You know what I mean? Thank you so much. And everybody who contributed just with your presence and good conversation, we appreciate you equally. Thank you so much. And we'll be back Wednesday night with Dallas, Wednesday night Tech Talk. Dallas's channel, Mr. Rogers Neighborhood. Go over there and check that out. The John Wilburn channel. John Wilburn is doing a virtual car show, so get your stuff in there. And that's it. I'll see you on Wednesday night, and that's it. Right? We're done for the night. Thank you, everybody, and good night.